Hello and welcome back to my channel. I just want to start off by giving a little bit of background for this video. As you can probably see by the title, this is part 2, so there is already, of course, a part 1, and that, if you watch that, that'll give you more of the details of like how this little series thing is going to work and all of that. So if you haven't seen part 1, I would recommend going and watching it. I'll leave the link in the little description box below so you can find it pretty easily. But yeah, if you have any questions, I should probably answer it in that part 1. If not, you can always just leave a comment on either this video or part 1 or whatever. Also, just a little self-plug real quick before we get into like the actual part of the video. If you really like this video, if you like this series, I also have made the Malfoy Manor on my channel as well, and I will put a link into that description box below as well, because it is pretty similar, and if you like this video, you'll probably like that one. If you like that video, you'll probably like this one. So also, this video will probably be the last part of the series that's literally just like constructing it, in terms of like floor plan and all that kind of stuff, and then after this, it'll be more of like the rooms and stuff. So far, I have already done the Great Hall. Like I've decorated it and built it. It obviously isn't on YouTube yet at this exact moment, but it will be after this video. I'm not sure what I'm going to do after that, but yeah, we'll move on to some of the more fun stuff, like the rooms and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, now that I've basically talked about like nothing for the past minute and a half already of this video, I'll go ahead and talk about some more funny or interesting things, I guess. So I did. One thing that I've talked about before on my channel is that I'm a university student, and at my university, they have like student-run courses where you can get units and everything, and I had the opportunity to take a Harry Potter course at my school, which was really cool. It was really fun. It was probably like my favorite course in school ever. It was really fun, and one thing that we did that I wanted to tell everybody about was one of the like teachers, you know, the people who kind of ran the course, they created like a really in-depth, really good house test to figure out what house you are, you know, because I'm assuming, again, if you're watching this video, you're probably a fan of Harry Potter, and if you're a fan of Harry Potter, you've probably taken, you know, all those quizzes about what house you're in, what Patronus, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the house quizzes are really stupid. I'm assuming other people have had that experience as well. But there's a lot of house quizzes where the questions will be like, what's your favorite color? And then they'll be like, red, green, blue, and yellow. And that's supposed to tell you what house you are, you know, which is kind of very silly, because obviously your favorite color has nothing to do with like your personality or the things you value or whatever. And sometimes they'll do like favorite animal too. They'll list the animals associated with each house, which again has nothing to do with it. So one of the teachers of this course, they created like a really, really good in-depth house quiz. And basically before this, I had always thought, I guess not always, but like recently, since I've gotten older, thought that I was a Ravenclaw. And I always knew I wasn't a Slytherin, just not saying it's a bad house or whatever, not judging, but just not me, you know. Also, didn't think I was a Gryffindor, not me either. So I always thought I was a Ravenclaw, and that whole time that I thought that, my boyfriend, who knows me obviously very well, was like, that's stupid, you're not a Ravenclaw. Like, he kept saying that I was a Hufflepuff, and I was like, I don't know, I don't think so, I don't think that's true, you know, and he was very adamant, and eventually we found out that he was correct. I am a Hufflepuff. He's very smart, and he knew that, like, just based off of my personality and all that kind of stuff. And so in the class, they sort us into houses, and you are basically like, you spend time with the people of your same house and all that kind of stuff. So it was really fun to be able to get to meet a bunch of other people that I obviously got along with very well, because we have very similar personalities. But yeah, so basically I request that in the video, if you've gotten this far, which hopefully you have, go ahead and leave, like, just in the comments, leave what your house is. I'm interested to see like how that pans out and everything, because as much as like it's like a silly thing from like a child's book, or children's book, I mean, I do feel like it's kind of telling, like, about people, and it's just interesting, like, to see, you know, where people fit in and kind of what people, like, see about themselves, you know? So yeah, please leave, just let me know, like, in the comment what your house is, and if you have any, like, funny stories or anything about that, because I have kind of a funny and also sad story about myself and the house that I'm in, because, you know, I didn't think I was a Hufflepuff for a while, but now that, like, I'm like, yeah, I am, you know, I have realized, like, more and more that, like, I totally am a Hufflepuff, and I think, basically, like, I have this sign over my head that, like, everybody can see, like, from the outside world, that says, like, this person is a Hufflepuff. You can, like, be weird or, like, treat them badly and they won't say anything about it, because the other day, I was walking to class, and I go to a pretty big school, and so there's, like, a ton of people, and I was, like, literally right off of campus, so I wasn't actually on, like, the school grounds yet, but I was just kind of, like, on the street next to it, I guess, and I had headphones in, because I was, like, listening to music, and I was walking kind of fast, because I wasn't, like, late, but I was kind of, like, barely gonna get there in time, if that makes sense. And so I'm walking kind of fast, and it was, like, during kind of almost, like, I mean, college, you don't have passing period like you did in middle school, but it was, like, that time period where all the classes were getting out or starting, and so I'm walking, and this guy walks past me, and he was a student, or he looked like a student at least, and he was like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And I took one of my earbuds out, you know, and I was like, oh, I'm really sorry, I have to go to class. And he was like, oh, I just need to talk to you for a second. And I'm sure he could see on my face, I was like, I didn't want to say no, because, like, I didn't want to be mean, but I was, like, really in a rush, and he was like, come on, it'll just be a second. So I was like, okay, whatever, sure. So he looks at me with, like, this really serious look on his face, and he goes, would you ever eat people? And I literally just walked away, because I was like, this guy, like, it must have been a dare or a prank, or they were secretly filming or something. Like, it was just something so stupid, but it was just, like, such a Hufflepuff moment, because I was, like, really in a rush. I had to get to class, and this guy was, like, able to get me to, you know, be nice to him, even though he wasn't very nice to me. So, yeah, that was not so fun. But actually, this other time, too, probably, like, 2 years ago, maybe, it was quite a while ago, I was at school. I was going to a different school at the time, but I was at my school, and I was kind of, like, I wasn't late, but I was just kind of, like, barely going to get there in time, and so I was walking kind of fast, and I was right in front of, like, the administration building, and this guy comes up to me, and he was like, hey, can I ask you a question? And I was like, sure, you know, like, whatever. And he said something kind of ridiculous. I don't remember what it was, but it was something really silly, like, the unicorn rides at midnight or something. Like, he said something just totally bizarre, and, like, it totally was not a real conversation, you know? And I just kind of looked at him, and I was like, what? Like, clearly, you know, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he looks at me very seriously, and he goes, I don't think you're the person I was supposed to find. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I was the person you were supposed to find either. And looking back at it, I was like, I feel like that was totally like a drug deal or something. Like, he was trying to find a specific person or something. It was very odd. It was a very odd experience. I'm not really sure why that happened, or why these kind of things always seem to happen to me. So if you are also a person that, I don't want to say pushover, because I'm not a pushover, but, like, you know, just somebody that tends to be a little bit nicer to people than, like, you really need to be or should be, let me know in the comments below, because it's an affliction. Okay, now this is actually my last story about being too nice to people and, you know, whatever. At school again, actually, this story as well. At school, like a few months ago maybe, like I said, I go to a really big school. Like, there's a lot of people, it's huge. And there's this one group on campus that, I don't want to say they're a cult, because I don't think they're actually a cult, but they have very cult-like tendencies. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like everybody on campus kind of knows that this group, it is a religious group. I don't know exactly what denomination it is, but they're very cult-like, the way that they talk to people and behave and all that kind of stuff. And they have gotten me twice where I'll be walking on campus and people will ask me to talk, you know. So one time I remember I was walking to class, and this time I don't think I was actually in a rush. I think, you know, I was just walking, and these two girls that look like students, you know, they came up to me and they were like, hey, can you help us out with something? And I was like, sure, you know, why not? Like, whatever. And they were like, it's just a really quick survey, like, it'll just take a few minutes. And I was like, sure, whatever. Because I don't know if anybody else has had to do this, it's watching this, but when I was at school, sometimes classes will make you do projects where they might ask you to do like a survey of your fellow students or something. And you can always tell, like, nobody wants to do them. Nobody on campus wants to do them. You always ask students, like, hey, do you have 5 minutes to fill out my survey? And they hate you because nobody wants to do it, you know? And I've been in that position where I really just need to get, you know, you need to get like 15 or whatever the amount is for the assignment, and just nobody wants to stop and talk to you. So whenever people ask me for that kind of stuff, I always have a hard time saying no, because I've been in that position where, like, you know, you have to get these for class, and nobody wants to talk to you, of course. So I always have a hard time saying no to these people. And so these two girls, they said that to me, you know, can you help us out with a survey? And so I start going through the survey, and they're asking, like, what religion I am, what my beliefs are and all this. And I was like, okay, this is kind of a weird survey, you know, but maybe it's for like a religion class or something. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, so would you be interested in coming to our Bible study? And I was like, you know, not particularly. Like, you're kind of being a little pushy. I'm not really interested, you know, and I didn't say that to them, but they were like, well, what if it's just like a social event, you know? And I was like, you know, probably not really. Like, and they asked me for my email about 7,000 times. And I was just like, you know, I think I'm going to have to say no. Like, and yeah, so I also get, and that happened to me a second time, actually. So the first time that happened, I realized they weren't a class, you know, I thought it was a school project or something, and that's the reason I, like, stopped for the survey. And then a second time, they got me again, in a different, like, part of the campus, but yeah, so I have also realized that I need to not do that. If anybody's school has a group like that, let me know, because at the school I used to go to, we didn't have anything like that, at least to my knowledge. But the school that I'm going to now is a very it's a very special place. So yeah, if you have any experiences or anything like that that's similar, please let me know, because I haven't really heard of it happening to anybody else. But anyway, we are rapidly approaching the end of this video. I really hope you like it. Right now, as you can see, we're doing a little bit of landscaping. I'll probably do a little bit more, not in the next video, but at some point. It is kind of hard to do the landscape of Hogwarts because it's like literally a mountain island thing. So I'm going to do my best, but I feel like the landscape will probably be the worst looking part, like the most not realistic part. So if you have any ideas about how to make it look really good, please let me know, because I'm always open to suggestions. But yeah, this is just about the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, like I said, please let me know, because I would really love to hear them. And I hope I get to see you next time. Bye.